Okay, come here. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. You've been in your lazy girl era, haven't you? And it's okay if you have. It really is, because we've all been there. I know I've been there. But guess what? It is time to stop being lazy. It is time to start fearlessly working towards the life that you know you want and probably deserve. But right now you're not doing that. And trust me, I know how hard you want to change, but if you're not putting in the effort, you're not going to see results. It is up to you to make your dreams a reality. To be real, nobody else cares. Everybody else is just too worried about their own problems and too busy thinking about their own needs and their own wants. But who's doing that for you? No one. And who's gonna come to save you if you don't do it? No one. So it needs to be you. It's time to exit your lazy girl era. Hey everyone, it's Ariel. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. So if you are currently in your lazy girl era, then do not worry, you came to the right place. In today's video, we are going to talk about how to exit your lazy girl era, as well as how to be productive and stay motivated and also glow up physically and mentally, because it's harder to win when you're being lazy. And I know we all deserve to win. So let's get into this video. So I think the first step to making a change in your life, or like recreating a new lifestyle for yourself, is to acknowledge how you're living now. So what is your day-to-day? What are your daily habits? And once you think about this, you might realize like, oh dang, I don't have very many healthy habits. Also, what brings you joy and happiness? What brings you down? Like, these are good things to take note of. How do you want to live? What do you want for yourself? What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? Where do you see yourself in X amount of years? What are your ultimate goals? These are all really good questions to ask yourself, and I think they are important to find the answer to before you even start like trying to change or getting into any of these tips that we're about to talk about, because you can only really start to do better once you know and understand where the root cause of your problems actually is. And once you figure out those things, then you can move forward and actually start finding a system and a plan and a routine that works for you while you work towards your bigger goals. So now let's get into some productivity tips. The first tip that I want to mention is to-do lists, because I think once you know what you're even doing on any given day, it helps you stay on track so much easier because you have it all laid out. So even if you get distracted or you start forgetting like, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing again? You can go back to your to-do list and realize like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. Once I've done that, then I'll go on to this thing. So that's a good way to help you start being productive and also stay on track throughout the day or week or month or however long your to-do list gets. Ideally, a daily to-do list is the best. So every morning, grab a notebook or a piece of paper, or even in your notes on your phone, write down what it is you need to do that day. It can be as small or as big as you need for you to actually stay on track. I know everybody's different with this. You can write something as small as like wash hair or like dentist appointment at 3:30, but just put the important tasks that you know you need to get done that day on that to-do list, and I promise this will help you stay so much more productive. It will help you feel organized. And if you want to take it a step further, you can also do this the night before. That way you can just wake up and get straight to being productive. Next tip is to set timers and also schedule your time. So this can mean setting a 2-hour timer for you to work on some form of studying or whatever work you have for that day, and knowing that once that 2 hours is up, you can take a break or move on to a different task. But I think having like set times for things helps you stay so much more organized. And I think it's also a good way to stay focused and not get distracted, because you know that this time is for this and the next 2 hours is different. That's something else. It also helps a lot to prioritize your tasks. So if you can, it's best to start with the bigger tasks, or like the more important ones first, to get those out of the way, and then move on to the smaller ones that don't require as much like energy or brain power. And that way you're always just working on like the most important thing, and you're also being efficient by getting like the harder, bigger things done. And then the smaller tasks can be saved for later. Maybe they can be pushed to the next day if they really need to be, but you're always getting those big tasks done, and you're always like prioritizing those above the rest. And then the last productivity tip I have for you is to not multitask. And I'm gonna take my own advice for this one, because that is my specialty. Like, I swear to you, I love multitasking, I can't lie. But it's not good. It's not a good habit. It allows you to get off track so much easier because you're switching from task to task. Your brain doesn't work well like that, so try to stick to one task at a time. Finish whatever you're working on, then move on to the next thing, and you will probably find yourself being a lot more productive overall and like not feeling so scatterbrained. But yeah, trust me, if you're a scatterbrained girl, I feel you. So let's move on to how to stay motivated. I have some tips on this as well. The first one being reward yourself. I'm starting with this one because as important as it is to stay like focused on your goals and always be working towards them, it's also important to reward yourself and like celebrate little wins. Otherwise it's hard to like stay motivated and keep that excitement or like drive to continue working towards your goals. So if you celebrate little wins throughout the work that you're putting into your bigger goals or bigger tasks, you're gonna feel a lot more excited and like motivated to keep working towards the bigger goals. And it doesn't have to be something big. Like you can reward yourself by taking a 5 or 10 minute break, or like fully sitting through a 2-hour movie, even though you know that you're probably gonna be thinking about working. I know I do that. But just allowing yourself little rewards like that you sometimes feel guilty over because you should be working. And trust me, I feel that, but you gotta reward yourself because we're always working hard and you need to take breaks too. Second tip for staying motivated is to put little sticky notes out for yourself or little reminders that help you like stay positive and also focus, because I know like my mind tends to wander and it can easily get jumbled and I forget easily. So if you're like that too and you have like a sticky note that you can look at every day, like if you put it on your bathroom mirror and you see that note every day, it's gonna remind you to think about that thing. It'll fill your mind with whatever's on that sticky note. So it could be anything, but I think it helps a lot to have those little reminders for yourself to just remind you of why you're doing what you're doing, because that is motivating. Okay, the next tip I have for you is to limit and remove distractions. Limit or remove distractions. This one I know is hard for probably all of us because we have our phones attached to our hip constantly. It's a lot, but try your very best to limit distractions or completely remove them if you need to. I've heard of some people like deleting their social media apps every weekend or something just so that they like for sure don't touch them and doesn't distract them from like what they know they should be doing. Or I know some of the apps have like timers that you can set so that you literally can't use them after a certain like time limit. So whatever system works best for you with that, maybe it's turning your phone on do not disturb while you're working or studying, whatever works for you, try your best to limit the amount of distractions that are coming at you, because I know they're all the time. We all get notifications constantly. It's just too much and it'll make it a lot harder to stay productive. You won't be as motivated because once you see a notification and it like pulls you in, you can feel yourself like going back into that lazy state, you know? So limit or remove distractions whenever possible. And the last motivation tip I have for you is to remember your goals, which I know this is kind of putting it like really simply, but whether your goal is on a sticky note that you've put somewhere for yourself where you'll see it all the time and that will help you stay motivated, or it's just you remembering like in your mind, this is my goal, or maybe you have a notebook of like a clear plan of what your goals are. I think it's just important to remember that, like keep that in your mind. Not to say that it should like distract you from being present. It shouldn't be like the only thing you're thinking about, but you know what I mean? Like just remember why you are doing what you're doing. That's why a sticky note is really helpful with that. But keeping those goals in the forefront of your mind just makes sure that you will actually continue working towards your goals and you won't like fall off or get distracted or forget why you're even doing what you're doing. So remember your goals. Okay, now let's talk about some healthy and productive habits. Number one is having a morning routine. This I know can look very different for everybody. Some people get up at 4 a.m. others wake up at 9. So if you're someone that like doesn't really have much of a morning routine at all right now, you can start small, like making your bed every morning or doing a 5-minute stretch or just taking a shower or journaling for 5 minutes or meditating for 5 minutes, like whatever it is. But start small and then work your way up to doing more things. Like if you can make your bed every morning for 7 days straight, then maybe add in another thing. Keep it realistic, like don't set such huge goals for yourself or like have such a intense morning routine that you want to do, but then it's so like unrealistic that you can't even do it, then you're just gonna feel bad about yourself. Start small, get a good morning routine down, and that's gonna help you feel a lot more productive. And a lot of those that I just mentioned are just really good habits to have. So other important daily habits are drinking water, which that's such a simple one, but like it's crazy how many times we just forget to drink water. Like, why is it so hard? So try your best to drink enough water, eat enough meals, try to eat as well as you can. Also, daily movement is so important. This can be, again, 5-minute stretch every morning or every evening, 10-minute walk around the block, like just any kind of movement that gets your body moving and the blood flowing is so good for you and really important. Whether it's something you do at home, like you can even do a little at-home workout, or you can like pick yourself up and go to the gym, but whatever it is, daily movement is very important. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is how to glow up physically and mentally. And I don't want this video to be super long, so I'm gonna keep this one brief. But first, let's talk about physically glowing up. So I always say it's important to have a good skincare routine, a good hair care routine, so that those things just always look good. And also having like a self-care maintenance schedule. Again, this can be scheduled in or like on your to-do list. It's actually a good idea to do that if you can, because then you're more likely to not skip it, because I know like it can be easy to skip like self-care things, but it's important and you feel so much better when those things are taken care of, like your appearance is taken care of. And also dress well. Even if you're not going to see anyone or you're just staying home not doing a whole lot, I still think it's a good idea to get dressed, put on a decent outfit. It can be sweats and a sweatshirt if that's what makes you feel confident and comfortable, but I think it's good to dress well, and you should do it for you, not for whoever you might see in that day, because it gives you so much confidence. I promise you, you will feel better if you dress well. Now, mentally glowing up, I think we did cover a lot of tips that all just contribute to how you feel, and they all kind of help you develop a positive mindset. But I think ultimately, to kind of sum it all up, focus on your goals. So remember why you're doing what you're doing and stay focused on that. Set boundaries if you need to between people or things that are draining your energy. It's definitely okay to say no if you need to. So that's a tip. Another tip is, which I think is really important, is to show up for yourself. Because if you set a goal or have something on your to-do list, let's say, that you don't do, I think that hurts your confidence and like self-worth and self-image. So when you set a goal for yourself, actually work towards that and show up for yourself, because again, nobody is going to do that work for you. You have to do it for yourself, and by doing that over and over, actually saying things or writing things down that you want to do and then actually doing it, you will build so much confidence and trust in yourself and your abilities, and I think it's just really good for your mental health. And the last thing I want to add to this is just to ultimately remember that change doesn't happen overnight. So take all of these things one day at a time, do your best with what you have in the moment, and also try to stay present. Focus on what you can today and don't be thinking constantly 10 years into the future, because you gotta live in today. I feel like the best we can do as humans is just show up as the best version of ourselves, and also strive to be always learning and growing as people, but really just doing the best that we can in the moment that we're in. The last tip that I think is so important is gratitude. I swear gratitude is like a magic pill that if you just practice gratitude every day, you will instantly feel happier. So practice gratitude, be grateful for what you have now, and I think that pretty much wraps up this video. So those are my tips on how to exit your lazy girl era, how to be productive, and how to stay motivated, and also how to glow up physically and mentally. I feel like there were so many tips in this video. Hopefully it wasn't too much. Hopefully you found these tips helpful, and if you did, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on social media at Style by Ariel. I will link that in the description box. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.